All right. We are in class 19. So it's a last class we are going to complete today. The topic we pending supposed to be complete in last week, which is point to site configuration. We did not get that why we are not completed because of that our subscriptions got disabled, right? For that purpose, I think. So in my second time I have extended, and now that my uh, subscription is in pay as you go. Okay, so let's have a quick recap what we are going to talk about. We discussed about the theory part, and just we will implement the practical things. It would need minimum 1 hour to complete. Okay, we need to start quickly. So what is this? 14th today, 12, 2024. And this is important topic actually in when we are going to configuring the uh, VPN configuration virtual private network in Azure point of view, uh, which is point to site. Let's have a recap. We discussed for the theory part, right? For that is point to site configuration. In this, what is this actually achieving here? So we will usually Azure network and whatever the resources are there, we are accessing via public IP address, right? So organization says this accessing resources from the one network and one organization or Azure network, it is not secure accessing via public IP address. So we need to access the resource via private IP address. And this would not be easy method, right? By based on this, NSG, we are going to configure the NSG and we are enabling the port number and we'll be able to accessing. But private IP address, it would not be easy to method. To accessing the private address, we have to have a configuration parties point to site. We have to do this. And in this point to site, there are there are terminology we need to understand that. So we need to create gateway gateway subnet, and we need to have that is in virtual network gateway. These two terminology want to be installed and want to be configured in this virtual network gateway. This is a crucial, and to creating a virtual network gateway, it is required minimum 15 minutes to 20 minutes. 20 minutes needed to create it. And for configuration part, in the configuration part, we need to define that is in few things, which is address pool, which is authentication method, and we would be using for the certificate, Azure certificate. Okay, and we need to have that is in root self-signed certificate, and client or child certificate. Right? This we need to do. This is all process, and the combined days it would require a minimum 35 minutes to complete this. And once it is completed, right, it would allow you to download the VPN client. Right? This is a most important crucial step on this VPN configuration here. So what are we going to do this? It's a simple steps to understanding. First, we need to create VNet, and we need to create subnet. And what we can do, we'll create one VM1, and we'll deploy IAS for web applications for testing. Okay. Now we can able to access via public IP address, can able to access web page of web application, default web page from VM1, right? Via public IP address. But when trying to access via private IP address, it will not, right? So to achieve this, we need to create and configure VPN setup, Azure VPN setup. For this, we need to have a component called, we need to know that is in, already we created the VNet and subnet. We need to create here, create a gateway subnet. Number two, create a virtual network gateway. Okay. And in this, as I said, this process needed for to creating this virtual network gateway, it would require minimum 20 minutes. So in this, we would need for that is in create a self-signed root certificate and create a self-signed client certificate. Fourth one is, then once it is completed, right, we need to have that is in, it is processing now here, it's completed. Then here configuration of virtual network gateway, point to site configuration in virtual network gateway. It would take minimum 30 minutes. And to update here, address pool, security tunnel, number 3, number B, these are all you have to update there. Authentication method, Azure certificate, then process the configuration, then download the client. So this step is most crucial and important. It is time taking, but we need to, if any of the single steps is failed, we will not be able to achieve it with our actual requirement. Okay, you should have that is in public IP address. And how it would be achieving this? So these steps has to be followed for the point to site configuration. Okay. What are we going to do now? Now here me I have a Azure site, right? This is my Azure site. Inside this, we would be going to creating my VNet. VNet 1. And this IP address would be, you can take any of the IP address. If you wanted to take 10.0.0.0/16 and would be creating for the subnet. Subnet 1 and 10.0.1.0/24. And we'll create a one VM here. This is VM1. And you would be able to get a private IP address would be 10.0.1.4. Okay, so what we need to do here in this VM1, we'll install IAS role for web page for testing purpose. This is for the testing. Okay. Now we have the end user here. If he's trying to accessing over the internet, he will be able to access via public IP address, right? This web page, default web page, able to access via public IP address. VM1 web page can be public IP address. But if you try to accessing via private IP address, it will not, correct? It will not. To accessing via private IP address, the additional configurations we wanted to do, point to site configuration, Azure point to site. Now here we would be creating gateway subnet. This is gateway subnet. and the IP address range would be, you can provide here 10.0.2.0/24. Now we need to have the major crucial part called as a virtual network gateway. And this virtual network gateway would be connected to my gateway subnet. So this is while configuring only, it will be asking you to what is your gateway subnet. And in this virtual gateway subnet, we have the component, we have to configure part here. We have to have address pool for the configuration part. We need to have that address pool. We have to have a secure tunnel. Number 3, Azure authentication method. Number 4, root certificate. So combination of all information, it would allow you to, if everything is went well, it would allow public IP address, and all this combined information, it would allow you to download VPN client. So once is all the information saved, it would be allow you to download VPN client. Now this VPN client you should download and copy VPN client copy and install it on end user machine. Okay, this has to be process followed. This VPN has to be copy VPN client, download and install it. And after install here, right, you would be able to have a VPN connection. After VPN client download, installed, will connect VPN, then it must show connected. The moment is connected, then so whatever web page we are created here, right, it should be able to access via private IP address, which is 10.0.1.0.1.4. And this page will be able to access it via this. You have the tunnel in between. Now you should be able to access this connect. This is how the processing, right? This is how the processing actually happening. Understood everyone? This is theory part, because this part is most important. How do you configuring the VPN or virtual network gateway? So what we can do, let's first test with this by creating this first. We need to have a creative init, create a subnet, we'll create a one VM and we'll deploy the IES. We'll see this first step you would be able to achieve by using public IP address and private IP address. Once it is validated, then we would come to the point to set configuration. Is this clear, everyone? Is clear?
Yes.
Okay.